Oh man, and we're back. What's popping in the streets? I believe therefore I am King Saleh. Hope you're doing all right today, man. I'm just tapping in to check with you guys. We're about 6 episodes in. I'll periodically just check in. I know you can see the title, Bleach. We are killing it right now. This is what we waited for. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm genuinely enjoying this time. I feel like I am 17 all over again watching Bleach for the first time because I'm telling you, these fights are A1. They are having some great times. I'm just gonna go over a few things that I like so far, and a few things that obviously I dislike at this particular point. Not at the Bleach as a whole, but just simply what we've been seeing up until this point. But before we get started, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me. Any support that you give me, sharing the video, giving comments, giving your feedback about what you think, it's very, very, very important and helps me promote the channel. So thank you guys. And again, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram. All the information is right there for you. We're going to do this. Oh, yes. So yeah, let's just start with the pros. Obviously, man, these fight scenes are fucking outrageous. Like, they're just great. Like the exchange, of course, with Renji, Asno, and Byakuya was really dope. I'm not gonna lie, I hate Superstar. Like, he gets on my nerves. He's really annoying. He's a douchebag, but he's there and stuff like that. We've seen all the other fights up to this point. And just the exchange is great. Obviously, like the most recent exchange between Yamamoto and Yuhaba were freaking crazy. Like, this sounds corny, but like seeing Yamamoto's Bankai was truly a gift. Truly, truly, truly a gift. When I thought about it, and I even kind of talked about it online and stuff like that, I really kind of felt as though, even though he wasn't aware that it was Roy, why substituting himself for Yuhaba and distracting him so he could talk with Aizen and kind of, bring it over to his side. I think he could have beat Yuhaba with just his Shikai alone. If we're just being realistic, genuinely could have done it. Because it was just kind of, I know he was enraged and he wasn't really paying attention, but he just like, you kind of got to notice like, okay, like, Yuhaba's kind of weak. Like, what's going on here? Because it's like you used your Bankai against him last time and it didn't work. So what just simply makes you think that he would just come back for seconds knowing that he was just going to roll over like this? I don't know. So I think that again, of course, is the I don't want to say poetic justice, but that's kind of the irony with what comes next. If you know, you know. Sad face. With Yamamoto, very arrogant, and kind of like lets like that stoic, demeanor kind of get to him. Just simply being really prideful about a lot of stuff. So I definitely didn't kind of like that. I definitely just wish, I know how the story goes. I've read the manga and I know it has to happen, but I just simply just didn't like that. That was bothering me because, like, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And then of course when we had, just simply seeing the exchange, like, the speed blitz between them, like it's very refreshing because of course, like before when we were watching, Bleach, and I still always consistently watch it, and I'm able to kind of look at it now and see how much of the difference it is. You really didn't kind of get like those slow-mo shots around, like, of course, when Yamamoto first lunged at Yuhaba, like you weren't able to see like that at 3D, kind of pan, around his foot and stuff like that. It just simply shows how great animation and the illustration has gotten in the last couple of years. So that was great. And then just simply, of course, I'm glad to see that we are getting exactly what we asked for in terms of like when we saw with in the manga, and we're not seeing too many hiccups as far as in terms like, with Bleach, to where like they're doing a lot of talking, like not as much obviously as Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, but that was one of the things that I didn't like with Bleach so much, is there was a lot of dialogue. So yeah, so those are things that I am liking, because like I said, they're just really getting to the business, and I think they are. I think after this, I am full. I've been satisfied in terms of like just simply getting that action pack and just really getting like that nostalgic feeling of Bleach and like how dynamic like their fights are. So I'm good on that now, which leads me into my first dislike. the one biggest part that I guess I say that I don't necessarily like, which is kind of funny, is that I do feel like they're rushing it just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. Because like when obviously the two big things were of course the fight between Byakuya and Asnot, and of course when we look at Yamamoto and Roy, like mainly the Byakuya one, because I felt as though like that, it kind of felt like that should have been a longer exchange. I understand that he already got his Bankai stolen, so really, you know, he stole his his Zanpakutos as a whole. And that's what the one thing that they're telling them is that they're not actually stealing your Bankai, they're actually stealing your Zanpakuto as a whole. So once that happens, it's just like they're just gone. That's why you saw Toshiro kind of freaking out why he couldn't hear him or anything like that, you know, or he couldn't even use Shikai. Because if it was just like, we're just stealing your Bankai, but you still have your Shikai, you know, you can't, you know, so to speak, without one without the other. At least that's my assumption. I could be wrong in that. But just, you know, knowing that they're just stealing their Zanpakutos as a whole, that's, you know, that's even steeper. That's even more scary because it's like, you really can't do squat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I do kind of feel like they're rushing it just a tad bit. Like I feel like we're really escalating very, very quickly. And I understand that they have, maybe it's the timeline, maybe it's the time frame that like Kubo has to work with this, but it's just kind of like a little bit I would have definitely preferred like maybe a little bit of a longer fight, you know, maybe 2 episodes. I think the Yamamoto and Roy's fight, in my personal opinion, should have been a little bit longer. I would have loved for them to, you know, kind of fight it out or have a sword fight, you know, for a little bit before Yamamoto activates his Bankai. Like that would have been great, you know, just been able to kind of like really, I guess, settle in, you know, because again, if you know what happens next, you know what happens next. So this would have been great to just simply be able to, oh, okay, this is great. Oh, the exchange. Okay, boom, Shikai. All right, cool. Here's some stuff here and there. There's a play on there. And then it's just like, within literally, like I said, Yamamoto wasn't playing. He came in and it was just like instant Bankai. Straight into it. So, and I definitely felt as though like he was kind of spamming them techniques like too much. That's why I was just like, you broke the unwritten rule first and foremost. Never, ever. And that's number 2, obviously. Don't ever break the unwritten rule of anime, which is never tell your opponents your abilities. Never. I know they have to do it. They have to narrate it for our sake. But it's just like, damn, never do it for the enemy. Like, I wish there was another way for us to understand. Like maybe if like, I don't know, they put out little cue cards or something like that, or info sections and stuff like that for abilities, or maybe it had been narrated by somebody else, you know, or there would have been like a not a time skip, but you know, a jump back to the past where they reflect on like one's abilities or something. I don't know, any of those and stuff like that. But it was just simply weird to kind of like see him just like, oh, here's this. Oh, and here's this. This is what happens. Oh, and this is what happens. Just like, dang, come on, Yamamoto. You know how this goes, bro. So, yeah, that was that. And then, of course, the third and last thing that I didn't necessarily like, I definitely think that I would have preferred for there to be a little bit more backstory as far as like on Yuha. I mean, I know they're going to go on later on to kind of explain it a little bit more, but I definitely would have loved for them to go back in the past and really kind of break down, you know, what Yuha Bak was doing, like, you know, when he, like, almost immediately after the loss. I love that, like, because obviously we got those small glimpses, of course, like, you know, when Yamamoto was, like, fucking him up, you know, beating him up and stuff like that. But it was just like, we really didn't get to see too much what was happening then. You know, I did love how it was just kind of like, you know, when he did show him like the fallen comrades of like all the people that were killed and stuff like that. You know, that was pretty ruthless and kind of cool, because it just simply shows how much of a beast Yamamoto was and how many Quincy he killed. But I would have definitely loved to have seen like more of that. Like, okay, let me see, you know, what would have been Yuha Bak's past and like what his relationship with some of these people and stuff like that. Maybe like 5 or 10 minutes of that, which also kind of raises the question, like, I understand that Roy can like imitate a person. So it's like, does he get his memories as well? Because it was kind of like, obviously they're doing this to fool us into thinking that this is Yuha-Ba, but it's not. It's actually one of the Stern Rider, who's imitating him. So it was just kind of like, did he just simply transform into him, or does he actually become him? He gets all his memories, It's like, damn, you could at least given this brother a little bit more power as well to fend him off if you really wanted to happen. It just goes on a lot with that, which that's why I was just kind of looking at it, and I was like, dang, like Yuha-Ba is also as well as kind of a dick. If we're just being real, it's kind of like you told, I could steal, and his line was, we could steal your, no one could steal your Bankai because they were not power enough to handle it. Only I was capable of doing that. So you deliberately had Roy get in there and fight this man with not enough ability that you knew damn well he was not going to be able to fend off. And the only order that you gave him was, simply leave it alone. What do you mean leave it alone? He can't do anything anyway. He's not strong enough to do anything. You knew this, you knew this man rolled like this, and you still let him go up against him to stall for time, which kind of sucks. And I get it. Obviously, Roy was just simply happy that, he was able to stall for time, whether he died or not. And like, obviously they've got like this really, really toxic loyalty to Yuha-Ba, which they will slowly, surely learn to regret here soon, I'm sure, as we all know. But it was still just kind of like, man, Yuha-Ba is not a nice dude. Like, he's just like the worst. This is the worst type of royal being that you would want to work for, because he really doesn't have any value for anybody. And which kind of created the argument, which may be my next video, like who's not a better villain, because obviously the better answer to that is Aizen. But I'm sorry, it's kind of like, who's a bigger manipulator, Aizen or Yuha-Ba? Well, no, take that back, because Aizen's still a manipulator because he lies to people. Yuha-Ba hasn't lied. It's just, I guess, like, who just treats people worse? I feel like it's Yuha-Ba. It's like, these are your allies, and you just pretty much just one-shotted probably one of your more smarter Stern Riders. I think he's a Stern Rider, because it was like, if you're that powerful, you got to be able to do something. You got to be up there with the Stern Riders. Excuse me, they released a picture. He is. My bad. So yeah, all in all, those are my 3 things that I really didn't like. But it's not that bad. It's really not. I am excited to see other people's Bankais and stuff like that. Such Urahara's Bankai. I think Shinsui's Bankai is going to be probably the best drawn out Bankais ever, because again, as they've said, it affects a mass area. So that's probably going to be like one of the dopest illustrated Bankais, or one of the best things that we're ever going to see, like when he fights Lillianet. So that's going to be freaking amazing. I can't wait for that, So yeah, that's all I got. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Give me your feedback. What do you like so far? What don't you like? What do you think should change? Please make sure that you use the subscribe button. We'll catch you in the next maybe 6 to 10 episodes. We'll check back with you. I'll let you later. Peace.